Good morning, students. I am Dr. Amar Singh, Assistant Professor of English, presently teaching at Government College Kawali. Today we will discuss an important issue of human life. Everything, or rather, you can say everyone who ever taken birth is subject to death. Or rather, in simple words, you can say that who has taken birth will have to die one day. You might have understood my hint. Today we will study the poem Death Be Not Proud, written by John Donne, 16th century metaphysical poet. John Donne, the leading light of metaphysical movement, was educated at some of the most prestigious educational institutes like Oxford, Cambridge, and Lincoln's Inn. John Donne, a typical product of Renaissance, Donne wrote a kind of love and religious poetry. Today's poem can also be called a religious poem. First, have little or brief introduction about the poem. Death Be Not Proud is the 19th poem in Holy Sonnets. The poem forcibly demolishes the popular conception of death as a powerful tyrant. The poet demolishes this conception. Generally, in a conventional way, death is considered powerful and dreadful. But this conventional belief is demolished by the poet in this poem. The poet has proved that death is neither powerful nor dreadful. When we will go through the poem with examples, with arguments, it will be proved that death is neither powerful nor dreadful or fearful, but it is the poor death. Death is not something to be frightened of, but actually it is a thing of pleasure. And let me recite the poem first, and then we will have explanation of the poem. I recite, Death, not be proud, thou some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not. Poor death, not yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of their bonds and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, woe, and sickness dwell, and puppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. So, a fine Italian sonnet in the Italian format, and now stanza wise we will go through and we have explanation and understanding. The first stanza: Death, not be proud, thou, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For more, for those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not. Poor death, not yet canst thou kill me. Very beautiful lines in this stanza. The poet explains that people in the world normally think and consider that death is powerful, death is frightful, death is dreading, but it is not like that. The poet straightway questions death and he says that, that death you should not feel proud because although some people call you powerful and frightening, but you are not so. The poet says that the poet says that death is neither powerful and nor dreadful. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow. Overthrow means killed. If death thinks that it has killed people, the people whom death thinks that it has killed actually do not die. Actually, their soul gets freedom from the bondage of the body and it becomes free. It is rather a new life. Death thinks that it has killed people, but what actually happens? Actually, the soul gets freedom from the bondage of the body, and in other words, it is the soul's rebirth. And the poet even says that death even cannot kill him, and he calls death poor death. Why? Because since it cannot kill anything, it is instead giving freedom to the soul. So it is powerless, it is poor. So the first stanza, the thought is initiated very beautifully by the poet. Next, from the rest and sleep, which but thy stroke be, much pleasure than from thee, much pleasure than from thee, much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of, rest of their bonds and soul's delivery. So here the octave ends, means first 8 lines. In the first 8 lines, the poet initiates, develops the thought. What the poet says that from rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. The poet compares death with rest and sleep. He says that rest and sleep are like the picture of death, and rest and sleep gives comfort to our tired bodies. And when we wake up after a little rest and sleep, we again feel energized, we again feel fresh and more powerful. In the same way, then death should give more pleasure. The short duration of rest and sleep gives us pleasure, where death is the permanent state. So it should give much more pleasure than rest and sleep. Then, in this sense, it is a thing, something to be enjoyed, something which gives pleasure, and it is not nothing to be frightened. So the poet compares death with rest and sleep, and very beautifully clarifies the idea that rest and sleep gives us pleasure, gives us happiness, gives us energy and freshness. So if short duration of rest and sleep gives this much pleasure and freshness, then definitely death will give us more pleasure, more freshness, more energy. In other words, our soul will be free from the bondage of body and it will wake up eternally. He says, soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bonds and soul's delivery. So, in these lines, the poet explains that noble people, religious people who are good at art, who are holy, actually they die young. It is a popular belief that God gives them, God recalls them to heaven early with the purpose of giving their bones rest and their soul delivery, soul freedom. So, death is a medium, and death is a medium to give freedom to our soul from the bondage of the body. In the next lines, the poet says, thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate man, and dost with poison, woe, and sickness dwell. He says that death is not powerful because it is not independent. It is the slave. Death is slave to fate, to chance, to kings, and to desperate men, bad people. Death in itself is not powerful. It acts with the help of fate, with the help of chance. It obeys the orders of kings and bad men. Then only it can act. In other words, death independently is unable to act. It acts only with the help of fate, with the help of chance, or by the order of kings and bad persons. Moreover, death lives in the bad company of poison, war means battle, and sickness means diseases. The poet says that death lives in the company of the agents such as poison, woe means battle, and sickness means diseases. In simple words, death acts with the agents, with these agents. It takes the help of poison, war, or diseases. Then only it is to able to kill someone, rather to kill the body, not the soul. And further, the poet says, poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. The poet says that Poppy or charms, these are the agents, form of narcotics which gives us sleep. So, and that sleep is without any pain, whereas the sleep caused by death may be painful. So, the poet challenges death that why it should feel proud, because the type of rest, the type of sleep it gives to us can be obtained from by consuming materials like puppy or charms with magic. Through magic also someone can be given sleep. So since we can have sleep from puppy or charms, then why death is feeling proud that it gives rest and sleep to us? Moreover, one more factor is there. Death gives us sleep, short sleep, and after that short sleep, we wake eternally, means forever. The death is a process through which our soul gets freedom from the bondages of the body. Our soul gets eternal freedom. So in this way, this short sleep is not at all, this short sleep is not, this short sleep is given, even can be given by poppy or charms. And this short sleep is a process after which we wake eternally, and in this process our soul gets freedom from the bondage of body, and in this way death itself dies and not the soul. In the process, death gives freedom to the soul, and since it cannot do anything with the soul, it has no power to kill the soul. So, in other words, we can say that death has died itself and it has not killed anything. So, it's a very fine and beautiful poem. The idea is very clear. Now, let's go through with some textual questions. Comment on the opening of the sonnet, Death be not proud. In the opening lines, the poet personifies death. He says, he even, it seems that he talks to death. He says that death, you are not powerful, you are not dreadful also. You are actually powerless, and there is nothing from which to be frightened of. And he says that death cannot kill anyone. Even death cannot kill him the poet. So the poet says that death should not feel proud on the context that it is powerful, that is dreadful. Actually, death is neither powerful nor dreadful, and it cannot kill anyone, even it cannot kill the poet. What, according to the poet, are the agents of death? According to the poet, the agents of death are the fate, the chance, the kings, and the desperate man. And also, death takes the help of poison, woe, and sickness to come to act. Death independently cannot act, it takes help of these agents. What does the image of slave suggest? The image of slave suggests that death is not independent. Death is subservient to the agents, that is, chance, fate, kings, and desperate men. The slave suggests that death is powerless, that death is dependent to something. Death is not independent. Explain the following expressions: soul's delivery. Yes, soul's delivery means in the process of death, the body is killed, soul gets freedom. After the process of death is over, our soul, that is immortal, our soul gets freedom from the bondage of the body, and it this freedom is eternal, permanent. Death, thou shalt die. This phrase means when death thinks that it has killed someone, actually it's actually it's actually it's freedom. It gives freedom to soul. It gives freedom to soul. So, in this sense, death has not died. It is the In this sense, death has died and soul has got freedom. What conclusion do you derive from Don's religious faith from your reading of Death Be Not Proud? Yes, John John Donne is deeply religious, and like his faith is like any other Christian, that after death the soul gets freedom. The salvation, after death we get salvation. The soul becomes free eternally. So the poem is deeply religious. John Donne is a very religious poet here, and he proves, rather he believes, that death cannot kill anyone. Death actually frees our soul from the bondage of body. Do you agree with Don that death is nothing but poor death? Yes, we agree that death is not powerful because it cannot act independently, so it takes the help of poison, woe, sickness, and also the chance, fate, kings, desperate men. So, since it is not independent, it is not powerful at all. It is poor in that sense. So, thanks a lot. I hope you have enjoyed, you have understood. The poem has enriched your religious faith about death, that death is not powerful, death is not dreadful, rather, it is just like a short sleep. Where, as we get pleasure from sleep and rest, in the same way we get pleasure from death and our soul gets freedom. Thank you very much.